Just like the quarterbacks, we're going to be talking about the top 10 running backs of the 2022-2023 season. This is solely based on the 2022-2023 season. And if you guys enjoy these type of videos, please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me. Let's get right into the video. At number 10 is Kenneth Walker III. Kenneth Walker had a fantastic rookie season as he rushed for over 1,000 yards and averaged 4.6 yards a carry with 9 total touchdowns. Now, the reason why Kenneth ends up at 10th and maybe not a little bit higher this season is for the fact that he didn't do much receiving. A lot of the guys who I placed ahead of him have done a lot of receiving for their teams, and Kenneth just had a couple, or I think he had like 100 yards receiving with no receiving touchdowns. I couldn't really put myself to put him any higher, but 10th is fantastic for a guy who wasn't expected to be this good coming out of the draft. But Walker shocked us all and had a fantastic rookie season, finds himself 10th on this list. At number 9 is Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard had a fantastic season, also rushing for over 1,000 yards, having 9 rushing touchdowns and 5.2 yards a carry, which is absolutely crazy. He was 7th best in the league. He also had an additional 300 yards receiving with 3 touchdowns. And he's doing all this while running second hand to Ezekiel Elliott. Hopefully here coming in the next couple of seasons that Tony Pollard will take over a starting role for a team and we can see what he could do as the number 1 running back on a team. Right now, Tony Pollard just didn't quite have that number one role. That's why he's around 9th right now. I feel like he could be a top 5, top 3 running back in the league if he was given a starting role. At number 8 is J.K. Dobbins. Now you might want to call me crazy as he only had 500 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. However, he did that in 8 games. He didn't even play quite half the season this year, as he made a decision at the beginning of the year to get an additional surgery to take some of that scar tissue out of his knee so that he could be at 100% for the rest of his career, which was an amazing decision because he averaged 5.7 yards a carry, which is absolutely crazy. That is almost 6 yards a handoff. Baltimore's got a stud right here, and what he was able to do in only 8 games earned him a spot on this list. At number 7 is Aaron Jones. He had 1,100 yards rushing, but only 2 touchdowns, which is why he kind of falls this far down. But out of all running backs that qualify, because J.K. Dobbins didn't quite qualify, he had the most yards on average with 5.3, which is absolutely crazy. Sit there, think you hand him the ball off twice, he's getting a first down. Aaron Jones didn't do much receiving either, which is also why he kind of falls this far down. However, I can't help but put him on this list for averaging 5 yards a carry, which is absolutely crazy. At number 6 is Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams made it on this list realistically solely on his touchdowns alone. 17 to be exact, breaking Barry Sanders' record for the Lions, which is absolutely amazing. He was a hilarious dude all season, loved what he did. He also broke 1,000 yards, had a 4.1 yards per carry, which is kind of why he falls this low on the list. When you break 1,000 yards, when you had that many touchdowns, you think maybe he could break the top 5, but 4.1 is great, but not amazing. The rest of the guys ahead of him did either something slightly better than what he was able to do, but however, he deserves to be recognized, finishing 6th on this list because he had one insane season. At number 5 is CMC. He had another fantastic season, able to stay healthy this year, and he was actually traded to a true contender. CMC had 1,100 yards rushing with 8 rushing touchdowns, 800 yards receiving roughly, and a few more receiving touchdowns, along with rushing for 4.7 yards a attempt, which is pretty damn good. CMC continued to have another fantastic season and even became the quarterback for the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. CMC can only go up from here. I think he's a top 3 running back in the league year in and year out. This year, there's just a few guys who are a little bit better than him, but CMC has the highest ceiling of any running back in the league. At number 4 is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was pretty much the Giants' whole offense. I get Danny Dimes was a little bit better this year, but without Saquon, I don't think they're a playoff team. To be honest, I don't think they're a playoff team to begin with. I think they kind of an easy schedule, but that's besides the point. Saquon Barkley rushed for 1,300 yards, received another 300 yards, which is a little bit of a down year, but when Daniel Jones is your quarterback, you're not expected to catch too many passes. He also had 10 rushing touchdowns and averaged 4.4 yards a carry, which is a little bit low compared to some of the guys who made this list, but Saquon gets this high for being the Giants offense. You take Saquon off of this Giants team and they are nowhere near where they are this season. That's why Saquon Barkley placed this highly on this list. Number 3 is King Henry. Derrick Henry had another fantastic season, coming up just a little bit short of the rushing title, finishing second in rushing yards with over 1,500 yards rushing. He also had 13 rushing touchdowns and averaged 4.4 rushing yards per carry, which is why he places at third and not first or second. His rushing yards per carry is a little bit lower. He also adds 300 yards receiving, but no more touchdowns. I just couldn't quite put him ahead of the top 2 guys, but Derrick Henry had another phenomenal season, continuing what he's been able to do for the last several seasons, where he was arguably the best running back in the league those years. But right now, he finishes in the bronze medal position. Taking the silver medal is Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs was the rushing record winner this year, as he rushed for over 1,600 yards plus 12 rushing touchdowns. He didn't do a ton receiving, but he also averaged 4.9 yards a carry, which is really damn good. The only reason he places second is there's just one guy who was very similar in yardage and averaged more yards per carry, had more touchdowns. I just had to give him the slight nod. But either way, Josh Jacobs had a phenomenal season and was one of the few bright spots on a very underperforming Raiders team. Josh Jacobs, if he can continue this, he's going to get the bag. In fact, he's going to get the bag this offseason. Somebody's going to have to pay him, as the Raiders, for some reason, denied his 5th year option, and I think Josh Jacobs is about to go get paid. And at number 1 is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was clearly the best running back in the league, as he finished 3rd in rushing record. He had 12 rushing touchdowns. He also rushed for over 1,500 yards, had 200 more receiving yards plus an extra touchdown. He also averaged 5.1 yards a carry, and that's why I think he deserved that spot over Josh Jacobs, as he just was more phenomenal when he had the ball. He averaged more yards. That granted wasn't a massive ton, but he also wasn't that far behind in rushing yards. Nick Chubb had a phenomenal season and deserves this nod at the top spot. Sooner or later, he is going to have the rushing title that season. This season, he was very close, came up a little bit short. Josh Jacobs, oh gosh, had a fantastic finish. But if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. See you in the next one.